Hey guys, Travis Manson on behalf of Monster Bass. We're actually trying to catch a few monster bass on a buzz frog, covering a lot of water. We got some cloud cover, so these fish are actually going to be roaming. We're going to be fishing some docks, some seawall, some man-made structure, of course some grass, and we're going to put this buzz frog to work and catch a few fish today. So I do like to fish these buzz frogs on braid. So I like to use heavy braid, whether it be 50, 65, believe it or not, even 85 pound, depending on the type of structure and where you're fishing these. A lot of times we're fishing around heavy cover, thick vegetation, so that's why I go with that heavy braid. So for this particular bait, I'm using a size 4-aught, extra wide gap super line hook, which pairs perfect with this braid, and I'm just gonna rig it up so it is weedless. And the whole key with these buzz frogs is the action. So this one in particular gives off a lot of action on the water. I can reel it fast, I can reel it slow. As you can see, I'm gonna be working a lot of these docks and really get it tight up against the bank, because a lot of times, especially early in the morning, these fish are gonna be up shallow and just kind of cruising. And then once that sun does come out, we will be fishing it a little bit deeper off of some of these deeper docks, off of the edges. We're looking for anything like a ladder or some type of float, even like a jet ski ramp, things like that is where we're gonna be throwing this bait today. So whenever I'm throwing the buzz frog, I really like a 7.5 foot long rod in that medium or medium heavy range. As far as the reel goes, you want to use a high gear ratio reel. You want to be able to pick up as much line as possible. A lot of times these fish, when you get a strike, you want to be able to get them out of the cover quickly, and so that high gear ratio is really going to help in order to do that. So the whole deal today with this buzz toad is to cover as much water as possible. So I'm visually looking, anticipating my next target, and I'm going to place that bait anywhere where I think there could be a bass. The whole deal though is to cover as much water as possible. So a lot of docks, a lot of grass. I see some overhanging trees down this bank. I have a lot of targets in front of me, and this is the perfect setup. You can see right here we have some scattered pads, so I'm going to cast that around these pads, and I'm just covering water. Trolling motor's on high, and I'm just moving down the bank, trying to hit as many targets as possible. So I'm really excited about what we have here. So we have a dock, we have some scattered vegetation. A lot of times these fish will actually get up underneath these docks. Now today it's cloudy, these fish are going to be a little scattered, but oftentimes the key with a buzz frog is being able to get that bait back up under docks and shade lines, places where these fish are going to be hanging out, especially if you have high sun, and you want to take those shots and get aggressive with your cast and make sure you get that bait way up under there and hopefully get a bite. So there's a couple different retrieves with this buzz frog. I'll make a long cast past the structure. So here you see a bunch of lily pads, and if I want to work this quick through these pads, I'm going to keep that rod tip up, and I'm just going to keep that bait coming through. But there's going to be some days when you're going to want to slow this down, and so I'm going to make a nice long cast, keep that rod tip up, and I'm just creeping that bait over that vegetation, and it's just kicking ever so slightly. And depending on the mood of the fish is going to really depend on how you work that bait. So it really comes down to figuring out what those fish want for that particular day. This time of year, covering water is key. As many targets as possible. We have a bunch of targets in front of us. If you guys are interested in giving this a try, I would pick up some buzz toads, cover a bunch of water, put that trolling motor on high, and go catch a bunch of bass.